This is Neil Schneider for MTBS-TV at GDC 2019. To my immediate right is Mark Petit. He's General Manager for Unreal Engine for Epic Games. Welcome to the program, Mark.
Thanks for having me.
The pleasure is mine. So, you know, when I came up here, I was thinking to myself, geez, there's so much to cover. I hope I remember it all. So let's start with the big moolah. I understand that there's $100 million up for grabs. Can you elaborate a little more?
Yeah, you know, we like to give back to the community and we want to invest in our ecosystem. So we announced this morning our $100 million Epic Mega Grant program. Really, you know, we've been doing it in the past. We had our Dev Grant program. We just finished allocating $5 million primarily in games to help young games teams making it through. You know, it's always hard to start. With the new Mega Grant program, we want to do this again, you know, and these are the grants, no strings attached, you know. And then we want to, you know, help the open source community. We want to help, you know, maybe new genre film projects, enterprise project, and academia. We have a lot of people in academia, you know, they want to teach Unreal, they want to do research on Unreal, and we absolutely want to support them. So that's $500 million over the $100 million over the next 5 years. So
500 would be nice too, but still, $100 million is plenty to go around.
The mega grant is going to in 5 years.
So how much at a time? I mean, $100 million. Obviously, you got to divide it up among developers. You know, how do people go about applying for the grant? What's a realistic expectation?
Yeah, so we have we put all of the details on our website. You know, it's just a simple application form. We want light touch accountability. We want to make sure that people use the money for what they said they would. But it's a very, very simple program, and we're very fair in judging it. So it's just filling a form on the web. It's up there with the FAQ. All the details are out there, and we already have quite a bit, to be honest. So.
Now, usually when you apply for grants, they usually have like a scale of like how much the grant each company gets. Any idea as to what the scale is per company, project?
Yeah, our idea is, you know, anywhere between 5,000 to 500,000.
Okay, so any way you look at it, that's a fair sum. Are you looking for specific types of content? Is there something that really ties into the grant versus other types of content?
Yeah, you know, there are emerging usage of the engine that we're pretty passionate about. You know, we just did a big project with Childish Gambino about using immersive interactive content in kind of a live environments for shows and permanent installation. We think that's an area we need to dig in. You know, anything where the engine is used in some sort of a multimedia or transmedia, you know, same content applied to different things. We're really passionate about open source. Of course, you know, we're all about open communities and open world at Epic Games. So new tools, you know, if you have tools that live in the, you know, traditional DCC space, plugins, you know, and you want to get them across to Unreal Engine, we'll be happy to support. And we support a lot of people who actually have started in other engines and want to migrate to Unreal. We help them with funds for that as well.
What I'm hearing is there's a desire for innovation and creativity.
Absolutely.
All right, good stuff. Now, it goes beyond the grant, though. I understand that you're offering tools and services for content creators. Can you elaborate a little more?
Sure. If you remember in the history of Epic, you know, Unreal Engine was born under the success of Unreal Tournament. Unreal Engine was developed for Unreal Tournament, and then when Unreal Tournament was successful, we made Unreal Engine available ultimately freely. Well, the same happening with Fortnite. You know, Fortnite allowed us to create an online platform to manage big scale. I mean, we announced today more than 250 million players across 7 platforms and all of that. So we've announced today that we have become very efficient in operating those services. We're going to make them available for free to all of our to all the community, which are any engine, any store. It's not just for Unreal Engine users. And of course, we have a roadmap. Not everything is available today, but we launched our dev portal today. You can register, download the SDK, and start using some of the services. So it's really, again, our spirit of giving back and creating a very strong and open platform.
Can you elaborate? You'll forgive my ignorance, but what kinds of services, like what can people hope to get from this? So
you know, in the roadmap, you'll see that we're starting with some very basic services, but over time you can get player identity, inventory management, cross-play. There's a number of those services to basically do all the things you can do on Fortnite. Managing a game with cross-play, cross-progression, and game as a service architecture.
So in your opinion, who is this going to be most attractive for? Is it going to be the AAA developers, or do you think the indie community is going to say, wow, this is for me?
Yeah, you know, we've always been about helping the indies punch above their weight. And that is really this platform. It will allow them, to even think about a game that is cross-platform and offer cross-progression and cloud saves and all of this kind of thing. It takes a backend. It's hard. You have to add, backend developers. It's hard and expensive. So we do believe it's going to be a big enabler for the small guys.
Now, another big thing. You see, there's so much to cover. It's a miracle I'm remembering it all. You got a store.
Yeah,
you're selling stuff. So what's the story there?
Well, the Epic Game Store is starting as a Fortnite launcher, and now we're adding more games to the store. Our recipe for the store is quite simple. Of course, it's the place where people go to launch Fortnite. So we lean on 85 million players on PC for Fortnite, and then we give a game every 2 weeks. And it's a highly successful program. Games have like 5 million downloads. We had Subnautica. We have Slime Rancher, now, and we have a roadmap for free game that's amazing. And then, of course, we use exclusive because we need to build an audience initially. So, Metro Exodus was super successful. And, people say, you should not create another store because people are in a certain store. But the reality with Exodus, we've seen that it's been so successful that it's all about the game. It's not about the store. And that's really our vision. We put great games out for our players to play.
Why was it important to launch the store? I mean, there are other stores out there. We don't have to name brands, but why was it important to do this?
Because, again, it was the economic model that we thought was unfair to developer. The 30%, that's kind of established itself as the cut of the store. We think it's not, nothing warrants that 30%. So the economics of our store is actually 88% of the money goes to the developer and only 12 goes to pay for the store. So that was kind of that idea of creating an open platform with the proper economics for indie developers and bigger developers. I mean, we have this big deal with Ubisoft now. The Division 2 is on the store, and we announced this morning that many more of the Ubisoft PC games are going to come to our store.
Now, what about, there are other engines in the world.
Yes.
How are you going to handle content that's made by other engines? Are they going to be marketed through the store as well?
Absolutely. We welcome Unity games on our store. Unity developers can use our services. They can come to our store. I mean, we really mean it when we don't want to create walled gardens and closed environments. So, we have this total commitment to support, all engines and all store with our services. And anyway, so we're very, very open. Any way you can think about it.
All right, good stuff. So let's talk about something that really gets to the core of what you do in your day-to-day, is real-time rendering.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I understand we're going through a bit of a paradigm shift into the use cases of this. Can you elaborate a little more on that?
Yeah, so we demonstrated this morning 422, which is out in a few days, which has the first implementation of ray tracing. So ray tracing is important at multiple levels because we completely refactored the rendering, so everybody will benefit, even if you do not use ray tracing, from the performance improvement of the new rendering architecture of Unreal Engine. Then, outside of gaming, because we understand that only few gamers have, those RTX cards, but in the enterprise space, in architecture, in automotive, people now can enjoy, ray tracing, which means two things: it's a higher visual fidelity, but a much simpler way to get to the nice picture. Rasterization, you have to use a lot of tricks. With ray tracing, is even me, I could do a good-looking image now with ray tracing. So ray tracing is really important for those markets. We believe it's going to become very important for games as well.
So for those unfamiliar, can you explain what ray tracing is? Because not everyone is familiar with that.
Yeah, so a simple way to think about ray tracing is an accurate simulation of how light bounces around. So if you want to create a reflection, you just declare the surface to be reflective, and everything happens. You can even reflect things is outside the field of view. If you use traditional cheating rendering technique we used to use in games, you kind of have to manage all of that by yourself. So it's really a simulation. Think about it as a very easy simulation, so that you put your light, you would do in real life when you learn at film school. You put your fill light, your key light. It becomes exactly that. You do this and you let the computer do the rest, and you get a good looking image.
What I remember of ray tracing is it's very performance intensive. Like, you needed enough horsepower to do it properly, but I guess we were at that point now where we're entering that area where consumers, or we're seeing it in the end user space. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. Thanks to NVIDIA and the new RTX card, we were blown away last year, when we started to show ray tracing, and this year the fact that it's available in the software and it's actually working. You've seen our troll demo that we did. Our customer Goodbye Kansas did this beautiful piece, with sophisticated lighting and soft shadows and a highly believable digital human in there. That a game engine can do this. We're looking at this morning on the big screen this is incredible, but a lot of the merit goes to the hardware guys and NVIDIA. They're doing a great job with their new GPU architecture.
All right, good stuff. Now, if memory serves, you in a previous title, you were in the immersive space in Enterprise. I guess you're still working in that. Is that still strategically important in Epic's world?
Well, yeah, we see, and when you think about immersive, don't just think HND. The thing, you don't have to stick the screen in front of your eyes to have a sense of immersion. We work on a lot of projects that are, immersive by nature. We just advertised our Childish Gambino concert where, in this 160-foot dome, we work with a number of companies. Of course, we are very closely with the AR companies. We were on stage for the launch of Microsoft HoloLens 2. On our booth, you can actually interact with Mika from Magic Leap, this virtual human who is actually, I highly recommend you do this experience because it gets AR in the right perspective. So, and in enterprise space, we see a lot of VR everywhere. Whether it's people doing scouting of set for movies or design reviews for cars. I mean, if VR is a disappointment on the consumer space, it's certainly happening. Immersive content is everywhere. So.
All right, that's good to hear. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
You're absolutely welcome. Thanks for having me.
This is Neil Schneider for MTBS-TV at GDC 2019. We will, of course, be back with more. Thank you for watching.